This is Creepy and Geeky. Welcome to Creepy and Geeky. I'm your host, Robert, and on today's episode, I'll be talking to Donna about Deadpool and Wolverine. But first, she and I are talking about the stuff we got into this last week. How's it going, Donna?
Hey, Robert. It's going pretty well. I survived another work week, and by the time this drops, we'll be in another one. But
Yep.
same as it ever was.
Yeah, I feel
But I
you.
heard you had some storms and stuff this past weekend. So
Yeah, we had some pretty good storms on Saturday, some high winds and stuff. The job that I work at is actually closed for a few weeks because of it.
geez.
So we'll see how that works out. Luckily, I'm just a delivery driver, so I signed up for DoorDash, so I'm gonna see how that works out for me, and we'll see
Oh,
how that goes.
nice.
Hopefully, we'll see. I would like a little bit more freedom with that brings with it, so we'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
But,
Well, fingers crossed it works out.
yeah, that's what I'm hoping. But
So
yeah, otherwise it was okay.
I'm kind of dying to hear what you saw. I have a feeling I know what you saw this week, but I'm dying to hear it.
I
But I can
definitely.
start because I actually have a lot of stuff this week.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and start.
Okay. Well, one of the very first things I do want to talk about is that allegedly, or what I've seen online, Jenna Ortega and Taylor Russell are in talks to do a remake of Single White Female. I don't know if you've ever
Mm.
seen Single White Female.
I never watched it.
You should.
I've never been that. The problem is I never really cared about Bridget Fonda or um
Jennifer
the other
Jason Leigh.
Jennifer Jason Leigh. Thank you. I could not remember her name for a second. So I could not like neither one of them have been like draws for me. So
Right.
that was why I've never watched it.
It's
So
a really cool little kind of thriller suspense film. It's like for me, it feels like a precursor of all these terrible Hallmark movies where
right.
it's like somebody is coming after them. But I'm interested in this just because looking at the pictures of both of them, I never really put together how similar their facial features are. And that plays very heavily into the plot of Single White Female, which I don't know what they would call it because neither one of
Oh
them are
wow,
white.
yeah.
But I'm interested to see how this would play out. So I'm a little excited about this news just because they may be able to do it a lot better, and this may be a little bit more high stakes. So if you get a chance, go watch Single White Female. It's not great, but it is entertaining. I will
Well,
say that much.
I mean, Taylor Russell, I didn't even think about how much she looked like Jenna Ortega
They
either,
do look very
but I loved
similar.
her in the escape room movies.
Exactly. I loved her in those too.
So
So this,
she's great. So yeah,
yeah,
so I would be interested in that in a remake involving both of them because I like both of them as actresses.
right.
So yeah, not so much the other two. So I'll probably just wait for the remake, which I know is
All
sacrilege for
right.
everybody, but whatever.
Fine.
All right. So yeah, I did get to go see a couple of movies this week. I went and saw Mickey 17 on Tuesday, the new Bong Joon-ho movie, which I was like, have I seen any of his other movies? And I have seen Snowpiercer, but that was the only other one I'd seen of his, and it's
Really?
been a while since I've seen that one. So but yeah, no, it was really good. It was really fun. It's definitely like a comedy, like like a satire. Um, it's hard to pin him down. Obviously, like that's kind of what he's known for is kind of mixing genres. It's kind of like an
Mhm.
action horror comedy type of thing. Like there's all elements of all of that in it. But I think it's just heavily satire more than anything else. And it was a lot of fun. I'm not a big Robert Pattinson fan, but he was really good in this.
No,
Um,
Robert, I have to ask you. You said you
mhm.
only saw Snowpiercer from this director. You didn't see Parasite? That
I
movie
have
is
not seen
crazy good.
Parasite. Yeah, I have
The
not seen
Host?
Parasite yet. I've not
The
seen The Host
Host?
either. Yeah.
You are like a monster movie lover. The
I
Host
know.
is
I
right
just
up your
haven't seen it
alley.
yet. I know, the funny thing is that back when The Host came out, like way back when it like I remember seeing all the trailers for it. I was like, "Oh, yeah, that looks interesting." I still
Yeah.
never ended up seeing it. So,
I think you
um
would love The Host. But anyway, I'm glad that Mickey 17 was good.
yeah.
It's got Naomi Aki is in there. Aki? I always mess up her
Yes.
name.
Yeah, from Blink
Um
Twice. Yeah.
and who else? Stephen
It's
Young?
Stephen Yeun and Tony Collette and Mark Ruffalo.
Okay.
And they're all very well doing a good job, and the movie's a lot of fun. The story's crazy. It's pretty much like what you see in the trailer. There's
Hmm.
not, I wouldn't say there's too many um like surprises. So if you've seen the trailer and you like what the
Hmm.
trailer's giving you, definitely go see it, because that's pretty much the, like, it's not like, I'm not saying that it does, there's not more to the movie, because there's a lot more to the movie, but there's not a lot of surprises, I don't think. So
Yeah, I'm
that's
excited to see
fine.
it. We haven't gone yet. Once again, this is one of those movies where I have to wait for 5 different people, so
Oh
they
yeah.
probably end up streaming it before I can actually go, but I'm
Right.
glad that it was entertaining and that, you had fun watching it.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. So what's your next thing?
Oh, I thought you were gonna tell me your next movie, but that's okay.
No, we're gonna
Uh,
wait, we're gonna skip that one, we'll go back to it.
So, there has been a new teaser trailer for Black Mirror season 7.
Mm.
I am super excited. I'm just now almost about to be caught up because I kinda always lag behind a couple of seasons,
I've
but
only ever watched the first season. So,
stop.
yeah, I need to, it's been on my list forever. I watched the first season and I watched the Bandersnatch movie. That was the only things that I've seen so far of Black Mirror.
Yeah, this one
So,
is I'm excited simply because there's an actual sequel to one of the segments called the
oh.
USS Callister, and that was
Oh,
such a
okay. I've
great
heard that
one.
was a good one too.
It's
So,
so good,
that's
and
that's cool.
I'm excited because I wanna see where this one is going, but, that came out this week, and they've shown a few clips from different episodes, and it does look really exciting, so
That's
if you haven't
awesome.
seen that trailer, definitely go and look for it.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to go back and watch the show. I've been so bad about not I'm bad about watching shows. Like, sometimes I'm going to talk about a show here at the end of this as well that I did watch and I will suggest people check out.
I'm
So,
sorry, TV is just too good, and it shouldn't be this good, like, there's
no.
too much to watch. I
Yeah.
can't keep
That's
up
the
with all
that's
of
the
this.
problem, is it's just too much and I get overwhelmed, and then I'm like,
Mhm.
like I was doing my whole black exploitation and like I petered out at like 11 movies of the 36 that I didn't even make it an actual third of the way through. So I'm
You
going to
did
get
better
back
than
to
me,
it.
I couldn't do it either. I'd be like, "Mm-mm, no, maybe 2 or 3 a month." I don't think I could go through
Yeah, I
it.
mean, I'm not giving up on it. Like, I just, like, I haven't given up on my found footage or Jalo like lists that I made like a while ago, that I haven't finished any of those either. So I gotta just kind of balance all them out. But yeah, yeah, no. So I did end up going to another movie on Thursday. And I went and saw Novocaine with Jack Quaid.
Oh my god, I know that was so much
It
fun.
was a lot of fun. It's very much a great little action comedy. Just great time. Yeah, Jack Quaid, Amber Mid Thunder from Prey was in it as well. And yeah, Ray Nicholson, Jack Nicholson's son, he keeps popping up in
He's
everything.
popping up in so many
It's
movies
crazy.
lately.
So yeah, he's in that as well. Um, and again, I'm going to reiterate, I like him so much more than his dad. I know that's sacrilege to people, but whatever.
I
Don't fight me.
mean, you can't help it if that's how
Yeah,
you
I
feel.
know. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. If you like a good action comedy and if you like Jack Quaid, definitely check it out. Because it's a Jack Quaid, he's becoming this really good um actor. He's been for a while. Like, if people have been watching The Boys and everything like that, you know how good he already is. But he's really good at, like, I was telling Katrina about this, that I was just like, he's so good at playing like this kind of character where he's kind of just like the everyman, just
Hmm.
a regular guy being put into extraordinary circumstances like this and the boys, and but then he's also really good at playing the really gross like shitty dude, like in I mean, people
Companion.
should already know this, but
Yeah.
Scream 6 and then Companion, um, which, spoiler alert on the Companion. Sorry, everybody. I mean, it should be fairly obvious.
It's pretty obvious from the
Yeah,
trailer.
yeah. So so he's really good at playing these kind of like really shitty people, but like also just playing a normal, everyday kind of just regular guy. So I like that, he's got that really good range, because some people just like get pigeonholed into particular characters.
Right, you would
That
expect him to be like a romantic
Yeah,
comedy type of person and just play those types all the
yeah,
time, but
exactly.
he has really fleshed out his career pretty well, I would think.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, it's just a lot of fun. But yeah, no, to go check it out. It's really good.
I really enjoyed this wave of non-action action heroes in movies. It's so cute to watch, you
Yeah.
know? I
No,
mean,
don't
it's
get me
kind of
wrong.
getting. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, go ahead. You were
No,
you
I
were
was gonna say it's kind
saying
of getting predictable at this point that there are no stakes for these people, but I still wanna watch it. Like watching Nobody, it's like,
yes.
wow, you're just like a everyday schlub, but you know how to do like 15 different things, different types of martial arts, you know how to shoot every gun imaginable, great at hand-to-hand combat. It's just funny. It'd be like if I was in an action movie, that would be ridiculous. It'd just be preposterous. But
Right.
it's weird because I do know how to shoot about 3 different guns. So I could do that much, and I do know a little bit of close quarters combat just because I have military uncles, but that's what it feels like when I watch these movies, like, "I could do that." No, I couldn't. I couldn't do it.
I think that if you were given, like, if the opportunity presented itself, you would probably step up to it. Like if you were put into one of these extraordinary circumstances,
Yeah.
you probably would be fine.
Yeah, probably.
Um, but yeah, no, I probably wouldn't, because I don't know how to shoot a gun, or
I
I have
fight
no
dirty
combat
anyway,
training.
so it
Well, and
won't
that
matter.
that would be the only that would be the only advantage I'd have, like, because I really would fight dirty, because I'm like, look, it's you or me. I'm going for
It's
your
definitely gonna
eyeballs.
be me. Yeah,
So
exactly. All I can tell you is go for the throat and the eyes. That's what my uncles always said. If you got a bigger person, go for the throat and the eyes. Sorry,
yeah,
just
the
just being
throat, the
real.
eyes, the groin. There you go.
That's it. That's the major
Yeah.
ones.
Those are the areas to go for, the
Oh
weak
my
spots,
gosh.
man. So, and this is your combat
Our
corner.
combat TED talk for you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But no, it's a yeah, no, I am really digging that, like, the regular guy put into
Mhm.
weird circumstances and has to step up type of thing. And then, but I also really love the Jason Statham, like, really crazy dumb action flicks and so as well. So,
They're so
they
good.
they
How can you
balance out.
not?
I there's a new one coming out too. We saw a trailer for it called A
Yeah.
Working Man.
The
Yeah,
Working Man. I
yeah,
cannot
yeah.
wait.
It looks good. It looks good. So, all right. What's your next thing?
Oh, so I don't remember whether we talked about this last week or not, but there is a teaser trailer out for Mike Flanagan's The Life of Chuck.
Yeah, we did not talk about that. I only just saw it this week, during, I think it was during Mickey 17. So
Yeah, this is going to be well. First of all, it's Mike Flanagan,
Mike
so
Flanagan doing a Stephen King
doing
story.
a Stephen King
Sold.
story, and it's such a good story too. I haven't read it in a while, and I really want to go back and reread it. But um, I don't know how people are going to feel about it, but I hope they get out of the story what I got out of the story, which is live your life the best you can, because any day it could just end.
Yeah.
Um, without giving any spoilers, once you see the movie, it'll make a little bit more sense. But
Yeah.
it looks it looks interesting. Once again, this is just a teaser, so you're not going to get too much of anything from this. But I'm super excited just to see it on the big screen.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it looked interesting. Got a great cast, a lot of his usual players, but
Oh
also
yes.
some new people. And so I'm excited for it. It looks interesting. So it looks like one of Stephen King's, not scary, more like emotional
Hmm.
movies. So that'd be cool. So, and Flanagan can bring that emotion really well. So if anybody's seen any of Flanagan's Netflix series, then you'll know just how good he is. So, all right. Well, all I have left are a couple of trailers. Mine are Disney trailers, which was weird. But but they were things I saw and things I wanted to mention. Because maybe some of my listeners are also Disney fans. There's a new trailer for the Lilo and Stitch live action movie. And that looks, I don't know. See, my problem is I really don't think that doing live action versions of cartoons really works all that well. This looks interesting, but I still don't think it's something I'm necessarily going to watch,
Hmm.
but it does look fun. So, and I've always liked the Lilo and Stitch, the first movie and everything. So, but it just, I don't know. It looks interesting. It looks weird. I don't know about it, but it could be fun.
The live
I'm not
action
sure.
stuff is always kind of hit or miss. I don't know why that
Yeah.
is, but I'm interested because I do love Lilo and Stitch a lot.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, because I'm really like, and that's the funny thing about it is like we're getting two movies this year by like that were the characters were created by the same people, Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon. Both
Oh, right.
were created by the same people, and so and now suddenly we're getting two live action versions of them. So it's like interesting. The weird timing on those. But yeah, no, it does look good. It doesn't look terrible or anything like that. I am intrigued by it. So I probably won't go to the theater and see it, but it depends. Maybe it'll be a slow week and I'll go see it
Mhm.
after all. So who knows? What's your next thing?
So the last one I have is there is a new trailer out for a movie called Everyone is Going to Die. Um,
Hmm.
this looks really interesting. It's a father and daughter, and it's a home invasion, similar to like The Strangers or Your Next, but it
Yeah.
also has shades of like funny games. And it's basically two women, actually, two masked women are having the dad and daughter play a set of games to reveal their true natures. And I'm assuming, like the title, everybody is going to die. But
Yeah.
it looks very creepy. I'm intrigued by this, and of course, they're in a home away from everybody, in the middle of a countryside. So um, it's going to be high stakes. It looks very interesting in this film. I don't
Yeah.
know the director, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. That's interesting. All right. I definitely have to check out that trailer for sure. All right. Um, let's see. So my next trailer is for the movie. This trailer I just saw it yesterday. I think it just popped up on YouTube yesterday. And it's a sequel to a earlier movie. This movie is called Freakier Friday, with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan reprising their roles from the first Freaky Friday that they did. So yeah, so it looks like a lot of goofy, silly fun. The premise is they once again switch bodies, but there's now two more girls involved in it, so it's like a four-way switch.
Oh my gosh.
So so yeah, so it's definitely going to be a crazy weird time. Um, but it looks fun. If you, I like the original. I've always liked Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. Mark Harmon's back. Chad Michael Murray's back apparently. Um,
Really?
yeah.
Jeez,
I
woman, what
just
else
looked
is
it
he
up. I
doing?
was like, wow, they actually got everybody back. That's funny.
That's kind of nice though, that everybody wants to come back and do the sequel. I'm so old school. I remember the Freaky Friday from like the 70s
Oh yeah,
with Jodie Foster. That was like my favorite thing to watch. And I
yeah.
could not imagine trading places with my mother ever because she just had too much shit to do. Now that I'm a mother and an adult, I realize that would not have been a good time for me to switch.
No,
But this is probably going to be so cute. I may have to go back and watch the first one just to
Yeah.
kind of remember what happened.
Yeah, yeah. So this is what it says. It says years after Tess and Anna endured an identity crisis, Anna now has a daughter and a soon-to-be stepdaughter. As they navigate the challenges that come when two families merge, Tess and Anna discover that lightning might strike twice. So
Oh
apparently, yeah,
goodness.
so they swap bodies with the daughter and the stepdaughter
And the
as well.
stepdaughter.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
god. That's terrible. Oh my
so yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, so yeah, I could not imagine having to switch bodies with somebody like who's a teenager. Ugh, that'd be the
Yeah, I can't
worst.
go through that again. I
No,
can't.
I really can't. Yeah. It's like 17 again and everything like that. Like that
No,
movie.
thank you.
Like I don't want to be in high
And
school
then the
again.
other
Like
side of it is you have a teenager in an adult woman's body who's probably going through perimenopause and having hot flashes and not understand what
right,
the fuck. Why does all my joints hurt? It's like
right.
I sneeze and I put my back out. What is this?
Oh man,
Our bodies are
seriously.
trash when you get older,
No, I'm
man. It's
telling
like
you, I've just been hurting my back and my arm just from sleeping. Like it's ridiculous. Like
it's
I'm
like your
like, what
body
am I
is fighting
doing? I haven't
against you.
done anything. I've been sleeping. How did I wreck my body that way?
It was
So
so funny.
dumb.
I was out with a girlfriend for brunch yesterday, and we both different times during the conversation, we both ended up choking on our spit, and we were like,
I've so done
"This time
that.
I'm gonna go out. My own body
Right.
is gonna take me out in this little restaurant." We could not
Well,
stop laughing. The people next to us gave us such dirty looks, and at one point, I was like, "Hey, I almost died. Y'all can take a beat, okay?"
right. So dumb. It's so funny. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, this was our old person talk for the week.
I
So,
mean, what are you gonna do?
right,
We're giving you the warning signs to look
right,
for.
right. Here's what to watch out for.
Nobody
So,
told us this when we were
no,
growing up.
no, nobody told me that just sleeping would wreck my body or that I could like choke on my own spit constantly.
Oh my gosh. But yeah,
Oh,
I'm glad
man.
I had more than just
Hmm.
2 things this week. I'm so excited. I had so much to give.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, I have one more thing. I did recently catch up on the Paramount Plus TV show School Spirits, which my wife had been watching and had been telling me about throughout the the, the first two seasons that they have already,
Mhm.
and the second season just ended, like not this last week, but maybe the week before. I don't know, within the last couple of weeks, and so. I finally was just like, okay, I'm gonna finally watch this. And so I watched it, and it's really good. It's about a high school girl who is becomes a ghost at her high school. Something happens, and so but her body isn't found. She's just missing, and they don't know where she is. Meanwhile, she finds out that there are other spirits who are at that school. And between them and her one friend who can see her, they try to figure out what happened, where her body is, what's going on,
Oh,
and
wow.
you know, kind of resolve everything to help her mom and everything else that's going on. So it's not like there's some funny moments and everything like that, but it's not played for laughs at all. It's very, you know, very well done. Some of the other students there, like there's like a kid from the 90s, a kid from the 80s, and a kid from the 60s. They're like some of the major characters. And but yeah, I really kind of like the ghost like lore there. Like they're
Mhm.
tied to that place. They can't leave the school grounds. But they can eat, they can drink, um, they can sleep, they can they're kind of like physically, like they don't pass through walls or anything. They have to actually like physically interact with the world around them, but and they can actually do stuff like they can pick up things, obviously because they can eat and drink, but the
Right.
stuff in the real world doesn't change. So I really like thought that was really fantastic because they can like wreck things and like it everything just resets and it's just
Mhm.
fine for the people in the real world. So I just thought that was a lot of fun. So it's but it's a really good show. It stars Peyton List from Cobra Kai. And so, but yeah, it's a really good fun show, and I suggest people check it out if they haven't already.
Man, I
Called
really feel like
School
I need to
Spirits.
do a separate podcast just for TV shows because
I'm
there's
telling
just
you, we were talking about that and we just
yeah,
didn't do
there's
it
just
yet. So I
so
know,
much is going on.
I know,
But
and
that would be a great one to talk about.
yeah, definitely, that'd be a lot of fun. We should get on that at some point. Just both of us are just always like, we always got so much going on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it is a good time, and hopefully people will check it out. There's another show on Paramount Plus also called Ghosts, and it's kind of a comedy version that's very similar. It's not set at a high school, but it's a couple goes to decides to start a bed and breakfast out in the countryside, and the bed and breakfast is inhabited by a bunch of eccentric ghosts.
I actually
Um,
love that show.
yeah, no, the little bit I've seen of it has been hilarious. So as I just haven't fully jumped into that one yet. I watched the first episode; it was a lot of fun. But
Yeah,
my my wife loves that one.
I watched the British version of it first, and then
Mm,
they made the CBS version, which is, in my opinion, I like the CBS just a little bit more, but the
yeah,
British is very cute. I really do like both versions
it's
of
one of
that
those
show.
instances like The Office where the American version is actually better. But the British version has its charms as well.
Hmm.
So yeah. All right. Well, that's all I have for today. That kind of a not a slow week. I obviously we both had quite a few things to talk about.
Yeah.
So turned out to be more than we thought. But yeah, no, it's a pretty good week. Hopefully next week will be just as good with lots of fun stuff. Make sure. Oh, and before we move on to the rest of the show, why don't you let people know what you got going on your show this week?
Oh yeah. So I'm still doing my Women in Horror series for Women's History Month, and I'm going to be talking about Mimi Cave's Fresh because I've
Oh,
brought
okay.
her up as a director before, but I never talked about this film. And when you talked about Holland, that made me think about her as well. So I was like, oh, let me just cover Fresh since I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, it's a good movie. I've covered it on my show a little bit ago with Ashley Thomas. So, all right. Yeah, no, it's good to check out your episode. I'll have to check it out. Um, but stay tuned for the rest of the episode. Donna and I are talking about the new MCU, the newish MCU movie, Deadpool and Wolverine. I finally almost caught up. Um, so stay tuned for that, and we'll talk to you guys later. On today's episode, we're talking about an MCU movie that was a long time coming. And of course, that means it's time for Deadpool and Wolverine. And who better to join me for this profanity laden sack of fun than my great friend Donna from the Dawn of the Dead podcast, who you all should know and love by now. Welcome back to another regular episode, Donna.
I didn't mean to giggle.
No,
like,
it's fine.
like, who better to have a filth Florin episode
Exactly.
than Donna? Now, I'm going to give you full disclosure, everybody. If you have not heard me say this before, I had to talk about this movie because my eldest son is named Logan because
True.
of Wolverine.
This is true. This is true.
There's no other option for me.
It's true. She's so big of a Wolverine fan. She actually named her firstborn Logan. So
For the longest, all of his stuff had Weapon X on it. We would always stencil Weapon X on all of his stuff, and he didn't get it when he was little, and then when he got
yeah,
older, he was like, "Oh man, this is badass."
yeah. He's like, man, I'm Wolverine.
And it's
That's
so
cool.
funny. He's gonna be so mad I'm airing his business. It's so funny.
Do it. Do it.
Wolverine has a mutant healing factor, right? So he never
Yes.
gets sick. He doesn't. My son has the worst immune system as a kid. He had the worst
Like you cursed him with that name. You were like, he's gonna be just like Logan. No,
You name it, the kids had it. Asthma,
that's too funny.
glasses, just the gambit.
Well, not the Gambit.
Not, I mean, he had the whole bang. You know what I'm saying? It was not good. Weakest
Oh, we're
immune
gonna get
system out
into
of the
some
four.
Gambit though.
Yes. So I'm just putting that down. If it's a diminutive, surly person, I'm on that person's side for life. We're ride or die. Okay, that's just
Yes.
how it is. So go ahead. I'm gonna let you start because I've already gone way too far. My son's gonna kill me.
Logan, if you're really listening to this, your mom loves you.
Oh, he knows. That boy. Oh my gosh. And I say that, and they all tower over me. And my
Yeah.
daughter is the only one that
Well,
isn't.
everybody towers over you. Come on.
I mean, it's not a hard feat, right?
Yeah, no, not at all. If
But
everybody
yeah,
doesn't know, Donna is really, really short.
and really, really mean. Kind
She's
of like Wolverine.
exactly like who better to have a son named Logan, right? Comic accurate
Oh,
Wolverine.
oh my
Oh,
gosh.
oh man. Okay. So
Let's
yeah. So
try to
we
compose
haven't even
ourselves.
started actually talking about the
I
movie
know.
yet.
I
I'm already
know.
cracking up. All right. But that's that's you and I to a T.
Yeah.
So
So this movie, long time
yes.
coming.
Oh
Always,
man.
it's a cream dream. We always wanted to see this.
This is what's funny too, because I know that he wanted to do, obviously he wanted to do a team up with Wolverine for a
Of
long
course.
time. Because I mean he jokes about him in the first
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool movie. And so and of course everybody should know by now that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have a long friendship together.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and this was like the perfect movie for them to both do and to both have so much fun. And it looks like I don't know how they got through any scenes of this movie because Hugh Jackman's playing it super fucking straight the whole time. And and Ryan is making so many
Mm-hmm.
this I'm surprised this movie got made with as much as they do, like by Disney of all things.
Disney.
Um,
Oh my
like
gosh.
they held to it. I am so happy that they did. They said, look, we're gonna give it the R-rated treatment, and I think they kind of waffled on it in the beginning, but then they were like, no, we have to do it this way. And they did it. They stuck to their guns, they got it done. And this movie is everything you could want, I think, in a Deadpool and Wolverine movie and a Deadpool movie from Disney because it really holds nothing back.
Mm-mm.
It makes fun of Disney. It makes fun of Kevin Feige. It makes fun of so many things. Um, and that like it, it makes fun of Hugh Jackman's divorce, which had just happened. Um, there's jokes in there that are just off the wall crazy and that I don't know if you
Never in a
haven't seen
million
it.
years would you think Disney would let them
They
riff
would
about
approve it
cocaine jokes that they can't do that they do anyway.
that they would approve it one and two that they would actually release it like that.
Yes.
I want to see the stuff they didn't release. So
I mean, we're already going, just the intro of the movie alone. We hadn't even the intro,
oh
the
man.
credits, the opening credits alone was one of the most goriest, weirdest, in sync, bye bye bye, dancing
But
Deadpool
totally
things.
Deadpool, like you know because he digs up Logan's corpse from the Logan movie. By the way, he goes and digs up Logan's corpse, and then starts killing TVA agents with
With the
Logan's corpse,
adamantium
with the
skeleton.
the adamantium skeleton, um, which was just horrible, just completely hilarious though. Um, but as usual, I really don't want to go through like a synopsis of it. I just kind of want to hit
No.
the big fun things about it.
Yes.
But yeah, that opening's great. The gist is basically that I'll do the setup. That the Logan who died in Logan came from the same universe as Deadpool, which we all should know because they've characters from the X-Men have been in Deadpool a couple of times now. And so that Logan who died was their anchor beam. He finds this out from this guy at the TVA, which is great to see the TVA popping into the movies, by the
Oh, that
way,
was wonderful.
outside of Loki. And so we get this guy named Paradox who's explaining, look, we can bring you from your universe and we could put you in the main MCU universe. Which Deadpool's all for because he's like, hell yeah, let's he's searching for some purpose. And so and because he was denied entry into the Avengers, and so which there's some complicated stuff with there I don't want to get into because I was like, how did he even get into the main MCU, the sacred timeline to you know do that and then get into his thing because he only had a time machine, not a time space machine. Come on.
Right.
So then anyway, uh he Paradox tells him that his anchor being, which is Logan, who died, when he died, it basically creates a slow death to their timeline, and eventually, over like 1,000 some odd years, that timeline will cease to exist. But he wants to um, make it go faster because he's an evil dick. So he's just like, I want to control the TVA. This is bullshit. And so he Deadpool's like, nope, not having that. And grabs the guy's temp pad and escapes through a doorway, and then goes to look for a Wolverine that he can have to replace his anchor beam. So, and we get probably one of the best sequences ever, which is this hilariously fun look at other versions of Wolverine. And it's all like the different comic book ones. So we get Patch from Madripoor.
Mm-hmm.
We get a Age of Apocalypse version. I saw I read something and some people were like totally missing who that version was. And I was just like, no, that's the Age of Apocalypse version. I don't remember who they said it was, but it was just like, it was so wrong. And I was like, how could you like be so wrong? They recreated that iconic cover from the X-Men where Wolverine's up on the X, like nailed to the X with all the skulls around him. I was like, and apparently they did that. That was all real. That none of that part was
None of that was
digital.
CG.
I
Really?
mean, maybe the background was, but like all the like skulls
The
and him
skulls and
like up
stuff?
there on that was all real. Now,
Holy crap.
that's what I read. I did not like go deeper into it, so I don't know. But then we got like I mentioned before, comic accurate Wolverine. He's very short because Wolverine's I think he was shorter in this movie than he actually is because he's supposed to only be like 5'2",
Yep.
5'3", somewhere around there. And he looked like he was really, really short. He looked like he was a little kid. But it was hilarious. Then we got John Byrne costume, the brown and
Mm-hmm.
tan, which is my favorite costume, and it sucks they always put him in the yellow and blue. I hate the yellow and blue.
I'm not going to even go into that discussion with you,
think it's
sir.
a dumb look.
I'm not going to say it.
You can fight me. Fight me.
That's fine. I will fight you. I'm not
The
saying I don't like the other,
the brown and tan is the
The
best
brown
one.
and tan
It's
is great.
more accurate.
It's great. I will just
Anyway.
say it's great. Moving on, we also get
Yes,
the
moving on.
Calverine.
We
We also
get the
get Old Man
cavalry, and we get
Logan.
we get Henry Cavill as Logan. That was funny too because they've been there was a rumor that he would be the replacement for
Hmm.
Hugh Jackman. Um, but yeah, no, it's I think that's all of them.
When they're Old Man
No, we got
Logan.
Old Man Logan as well. Um, that was a great one.
Hmm.
So yeah, and then all of those Wolverines just mess up Deadpool until he manages to land in our Logan, who we're gonna go through the rest of the movie with.
I'm gonna tell you right now, my teen Donna ass in that seat I was salivating.
Oh,
I was just like, holy shit, this is everything I've ever wanted to
oh,
see.
seriously, me too. Okay, because I've grown up on the X-Men comic books, especially that like late '80s, early
Hmm.
'90s era. My time, my entry into the X-Men was literally the Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee era of Chris Claremont's run.
Hmm.
So that was that late 80s, early 90s run, before Jim Lee left to go do the regular X-Men before he went off and did Image. Um, and that was like, so that era, and it was like, because that's when Wolverine had his own comic book, and that's when we got Patch. And then the Age of Apocalypse stuff came after that. So like that was literally just like right there in that good sweet spot of those comic books, and like so much of that was on the screen, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so awesome. Um, so yeah. Yeah, I'm with you there. It was great seeing all those versions, and it was, I wish we could have seen more of each one of those
Hmm.
versions. But yeah, it was fun for what it was. But we land in a reality where Wolverine is not doing so well. He's drunk, and in this universe, you find out that there are no other X-Men. They're all dead. He's the last. You'll find out why later. But yeah, so basically, this, he brings him to Paradox and says, "Hey, I wanted to, we can replace him with this one." And he's just like, "You brought the
You brought
very
the
worst
worst
Wolverine."
one.
Yeah, the worst Wolverine ever. Yeah, I wouldn't have taken any of them, but you brought me
Oh my
literally the worst
gosh.
one ever. And that's when you find out that he got all of his, he, the way he says it is he got the rest of his X-Men killed. And so Wolverine and Deadpool escape, or no, get shoved into the void. They get uh, put into the void, and that's where um, they decide to have a fight, which is great because it's like one of the best fight scenes ever. Just Wolverine, and because at this point, Deadpool, like, because he's now in the TVA, he gets suited up and he gets adamantium uh
So the
swords.
katanas, yeah.
Yeah, the katanas. And so now he's got, stuff that can hurt and won't get broken and stuff like that.
Plus,
So
it's
he,
interesting because they both heal.
yes.
You've never.
Yeah. So their fights are bloody and gruesome and everything else, but like they both are constantly healing, and neither one of them can damage each other's weapons. And so excuse me. But yeah, no, it was great, and I loved it too because it's in the void and it's on like the like against the wreckage of the 20th century Fox line.
That's one thing I will say for this film, they really do a good job of poking fun at all of these things and bringing up all of the old Fox X-Men
Yes.
heroes and villains, and just I don't know, there's something very cute about the way they merge these characters together, even
Yes.
though they kind of die very quickly. Like, as soon as we see them, as soon as they appear, they're not gonna be here very long, so,
Right.
um but, the jokes between that Fox and Disney kind of merger and all of those MCU cliches, you're
Yeah.
expecting things to happen that don't happen. Um, we get to see Chris Evans, and he's fully expecting Cap to come
Yes.
out.
And we all were. Like
Of
everybody who
course.
was watching that movie. Now, to be fair, I wasn't. I was pretty sure it wasn't him.
Right.
But I was like, well, it could be, but I was like, maybe he's actually playing the Human Torch. And then he says flame on and he was the torch. And I was like, hell yes. I was like, this is everything right now.
Yeah.
I was just like, look, they're having fun with this whole Fox, and then you get a little bit more later. But like the ultimate thing about this is like, when, as much as it's poking fun, this is a very loving
Oh, yes.
tribute to Fox and the X-Men and Fantastic Four, and everything movies that they did, and not just the Fox stuff, but mostly the Fox stuff,
Mhm.
um, because those, a lot of those were the movies that we had
Prior
for a
to the
long time prior to the
MCU.
MCU existing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're the ones who helped build that foundation that made the MCU ultimately work even better.
Mhm.
And so I love that, we're getting this kind of crossover with all of this. Because I mean, again, Deadpool and Wolverine are both from Fox. And so, it's that crossing over into our version and everything. And it's just, I don't know. It's so much fun. And we'll get to it, but there's a great mid credits
Oh,
um
yeah. That
ode
was
to the
really
Fox
lovely.
movies. Yeah. So but yeah, so we get the Human Torch. And then they have a confrontation with a bunch of people who you see. It's the return of Tyler Mane as Sabretooth,
Sabretooth?
and Aaron Stanford as Pyro from the original X-Men movies, which was a lot of fun to see them come back. Uh, and Toad, even Ray Park came back to um, play Toad again, which is great. Very, very quick. Uh, he's barely in the movie, and
Right.
but I mean, so is Tyler Mane. But yeah, they're taken to Cassandra Nova, which is the big bad of the movie. Well, the other big bad of the movie, which you find out she is Charles Xavier's sister, um, who tried to kill him in the womb, his twin sister, and she's been stuck in the void, I guess, since she was a kid. Since she was really young, the TVA shoved her over there because she's too powerful, and her base is inside of a dead giant version of Ant-Man.
Yeah, there's a great joke when that
Yeah.
when they get there.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, Paul Rudd finally aged."
Yeah. Oh, I
Like,
see Paul Rudd finally aged.
so the one thing I will say about both
Yes.
of these characters, Deadpool and Wolverine, is that they are the most unlikely heroes in this film,
Oh yeah.
and they're always the ones that you don't expect to do the right thing, and they always do the right thing. Like they just can't help themselves.
Yes.
That's who they are.
Right.
Um, and I feel like both of them meeting each other, this is like a bad cop movie. This is like 48 Hours in
Yeah.
the Marvel world. I mean, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Two people who can't stand each other, but they have a common goal, and
Right.
it's everything about the landscape of this film is just hilarious from
Yeah.
beginning to end. Um, go ahead, you were gonna say
No,
something.
I was just gonna say, because they, their motivations are that Deadpool, n- his that paradox guy is trying to destroy his reality quicker, and so he wants to stop him, and so that's why he's got Wolverine, and then so they're trying to get back to their reality to be able to stop Paradox.
Mhm,
And Logan is there because Deadpool tells him that that the TVA can fix his reality, can fix the mistake or whatever, can go back in time and fix the issue that happened and maybe set things right. And um, so that's why they're doing it, but they're not. But ultimately, like Wolverine still just is like, whatever, He's just like, he's like, I already fucked it up. And so he's just drinking throughout everything and just trying to get through it all. Um, and yeah, it's a, it's just crazy. This movie, I know we're all over the place on this, but it's
aren't
kind
we
of,
always?
yeah, we're always. And I said I wasn't gonna synopsize, and that's what I'm doing anyway, because it's kind of hard to talk about the movie without doing it. But it's, you know, they they managed to escape, but not before they end up getting Johnny Storm killed.
And a very hilarious scene
Yes.
of very gross words put together, and
Yes.
this is what caused
Yeah.
Miss
Deadpool
Nova
says
to.
that Johnny Storm said a bunch of shit about Cassandra Nova that that Johnny claims he didn't say. Um, and then but she just doesn't want to hear it and she rips his skin off. Oh, it's just, yeah. No. This, that whole sequence was insane. Um um but yeah, they end up managing to escape before Eliath gets there. And then people have watched the first season of Loki, you'll know who Eliath is. Because it's all very tied in. I love that they brought in the TVA and the Void and the
I
Alioth
do
and everything
too.
like that. It's so fun. And so yeah, so and he's like, "Oh, Alioth from season 1, episode 5 of Loki." I just love all the super, like, that's what's been great about Deadpool is just all the super meta humor that goes into all this. Just like if you are a fan like this, like I think it's funny too because it's like everybody complains about the MCU movies and how you need to watch everything and everything. It's like, okay, I'll give you Deadpool and Wolverine is the one movie where you kind of have to watch everything so that you know what the hell he's
What the
talking about
TVA is and
with the
who these people
TVA.
are, and
Yeah. And if you haven't been watching everything, yeah, you're not going to get it all. I think you could still have a lot of fun without knowing everything. But yeah, it's lots of goofy shit like that. But yeah, they managed to jump onto a sentinel leg, I think it is, and escape from Cassandra's base just in time. And now they're on the hunt for people because they find out that there's other people on the borderlands or whatever that can possibly help them. And so that's what they do. They go in search of that. They run across a variant of Deadpool who is unmasked, has long hair, and has the unblemished visage of Ryan Reynolds.
oh my
And he's
gosh.
a very douchey guy called Nice Pool. Now, there's been some talk about how that is a caricature of a certain person, a certain actor slash director that is
Ryan Reynolds his wife has beef with
have
right
beef
now.
with. Yes. So if you know what's been going on with Blake Lively, you'll know who we're talking about. We're not going to mention it, but
No, 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 no.
no, because I don't want to get involved.
Hell no.
But yeah. Um, but yeah, so that's apparently a caricature of him. And once you know that, you kind of you like I guess you see it. But yeah, it's pretty terrible. I didn't know that at first when it first came out. I didn't know any of the beef that was going on and everything. And I just thought he was just like you know a douchey version of Deadpool, like of Ryan, like a kind of a douchier version of Ryan Reynolds. Not that Ryan Reynolds is a douche at all, so not a douchier, just a douchey. Um, I want to clarify, because I love Ryan Reynolds. But yeah, so Nice Pool, and Dog Pool comes up too, which is this very ugly.
So
Apparently, they
ugly that it's
added,
cute though. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
and apparently they added the tongue in, like the tongue sticking out like all the time was like an added effect. So that's not apparently all the time, but I have seen dogs that are like that though, and I think it's particularly this breed as well that you can get some terrible, like terrifying looking versions of them.
Oh
But
yes.
yeah, so and meanwhile they're talking to Nice Pool and the dog is just like licking Ryan Reynolds' face and in
Straight
his
in the
mouth,
mouth.
and oh, it's so
No.
gross. And
No.
you're looking at Hugh Jackman looking at him. He's got like the most disgusted look on his face. It's so funny.
Rightly so. That's just gross as
Oh no,
hell.
it's gross. Yeah, it's gross as hell. Then he but this is where Deadpool makes the joke about how he's let himself go after the divorce. And it's just it's just it's weird. It's one of those things where I'm like, wow, even Hugh Jackman was okay with that joke. I was like, all right. Um, but it's I don't know. It
Some people process through laughter. You know
no,
what I
no,
mean?
exactly. Because if anybody knows, like Hugh Jackman and his wife were together for decades,
Yeah.
like a long
Long
time, and
time.
it was great too because everybody's like, "Oh, this is so nice." They met early on, and he's stuck with her through all the fame and everything like that. Because you
Hmm.
always hear of like the people who get famous and then divorce their like
Right.
their not so great wife or some famous person. Um, so obviously whatever went down is between them and everything like that, and he was still with her through the bulk of his career. So, um, So, but yeah, no, it's but yeah, those, I mean, that's indicative of some of the like the terrible jokes that they get away with in this movie. Um, but they talk to Nice Pool. Nice Pool helps them get a vehicle so that they can go find these people out on the borderlands, and they end up having a fight in the car because Deadpool uh, says, "Well, if the TVA can fix your reality," and then that's when Wolverine goes, "If you said
You
when."
said he could fix it,
Yeah,
and yeah, and he's like, "Oh, it was an educated wish,"
it
or
was an
something like
educated wish. Yep.
that.
And he was like, "It was an educated wish."
And they have this long drawn out fight
Oh
with,
my God.
Grease's, "You're the one that I want," that
Yes.
song from
Except for
Grease.
there's a real quick moment where Deadpool bashes Wolverine's head in the beginning, and it starts playing one of the songs from The Greatest Showman, which is a movie that Hugh Jackman was in. It for people
Right.
who don't know. So it was a great little nod to that, and then it goes into the "You're the one that I want," and it's a oh my God, it's a great fight sequence. They have some of the best fight sequences in this together. But it's all within the confines of this crappy Honda Odyssey. Uh, and then you see them at the end of it, they're like passed out. Wolverine has somehow managed to incapacitate Deadpool, all wrapped up in all the
The
seatbelts in the
seatbelts.
car.
And they're both
Uh,
completely spent at this point. I
yeah,
mean,
no,
they've been
Wolverine is
fighting,
completely
like, and
passed out.
it's already, like, what, nighttime in the next
Yeah, it's like a
day?
whole
Like,
day has passed, like a whole 24 hours of fighting has
oh
passed.
my gosh.
And then somebody comes up, you don't see them, and they get in the car and drive them off.
I
And
think that's
then,
cool that we had these multiple fights between them, though, once again, with 2 people
yes,
that can heal over and over
yeah,
constantly. This was, like, the best thing you could ever wanna see.
oh yeah.
Because neither one of them is gonna give up. They don't, the stamina doesn't stop, and then
Well,
there's
and they're
no.
stabbing each other. I mean,
Right.
it's one thing if it were like, just people brawling the whole time, just like bare knuckle fisted, like just, you know, hitting each other multiple times. But this is literally blades going in and out of each other. They're bleeding profusely, like they did not skimp on the violence and gore in this movie. Like they really went for that hard R. This is not just it's not just a tame R. This is a hard R.
This is a hard
There's
R.
I mean, it's full of fuck and all the bad words you could do. There's no nudity,
No nudity, but
no
Jesus,
nudity because it's
the
still an
violence
MCU movie.
alone.
But the violence, the gore, the language, the really inappropriate jokes. Um, yeah, no, it's this is everything you could want from a hard R Deadpool movie. I mean, I will say it right here now. This is the best Deadpool movie. Like for me, others might not agree, but
No,
this
I totally agree with you on that.
yeah,
This is the best Deadpool
yeah,
movie
this
ever.
is everything Deadpool distilled into everything that's great about Deadpool, everything that's great about Wolverine, and just everything combined is just so good. Um, but yeah, so um, but yeah, I agree. Those fight scenes are brutal. Like any other movie, I mean, obviously the people would be dead within an instant. I mean, you watch Deadpool mess people up in the beginning, those TVA agents, like who can't heal. And that was horrible. Um, but yeah, so Deadpool wakes up, and Wolverine's already awake, and they're in some kind of weird base somewhere. They don't know where they're at, but Wolverine's drinking already. He's up and he's drinking, and he uh, and then they're trying to figure out what's going on, and then in comes the people who live there, and probably the best. One of the best sequences of this whole movie, just watching these people
What was
slow
going through
motion
your
walk in.
mind when you saw that in the theater? Because
I was I was going out of my mind.
yeah.
The first one I knew about, because in walks Jennifer Garner as Elektra, which was great. I was like, oh, cool, which again I had already known about that she
Mhm.
was going to be in it, so I wasn't that surprised. But the second one, in walks Wesley Snipes as motherfucking Blade. I about fucking shit myself. I was freaking the fuck out in the
I was
theater.
freaking out too. And my family, if we went as a family to go see this, and all of us like looked at each other in the dark. We were like, "Oh my god! Oh my fucking god!"
I was like nudging Katrina. I was like, oh my god, it's Blade. Oh my god. It was like nobody even knew because literally I heard nothing about him being
Well,
in the movie.
because of the rumor was because of whatever happened in Blade Trinity and them
Yes.
trying to do the Night Stalkers and all that stuff, and they pushed
Right.
Wesley out of his movie. So for years there was a rumor that Wesley Snipes
Oh.
had this thing against Ryan Reynolds and
Oh,
he
and he
hated him.
did. And he did. From everything that I understand, there was massive bad blood between them.
And it wasn't
So
Ryan Reynolds' fault. It was the
no,
studio.
it was the
Had nothing
studios.
to do with
The
him.
studio and the director. Yeah.
So to see him in this movie, I was like, okay, I could die happy right now.
Yeah. Oh man.
um,
And it's so great too because they reference it too. Because Blade goes, I don't like you. And Deadpool goes, you never
you
did.
never did. You had to really be paying attention to catch that little
Yeah. Yeah.
snide remark he made.
You have to know the history. You have to know it. And so,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
See, and so this automatically with you and I, this becomes a continuation of our Blade
Of our
coverage.
Blade conversation.
So if anybody doesn't know, we covered Blade 1 through 3 in a previous episode. So go back and check out that and see what we think about those
We
movies.
did not like the same movies,
No,
okay?
no,
He liked
no.
one specifically, I liked one
I
specifically.
love Blade Trinity. It's a stupid ass movie, but you got Ryan Reynolds and you got Parker Posey. I'm fucking sold.
Parker
Um,
Posey did sell that for me, I'm not
oh,
gonna lie. But however,
he literally vamped it up. Come on.
however, we needed more of that family of that vampire family, her and
Yes,
her
yes,
brother.
please.
Um, and then we also get a character that we've seen in an X-Men movie previously, but we have not
Yes.
seen with this actor.
We've
We get
not
to
seen
see
this version.
Yeah, so we get to see Gambit played by Channing Tatum, and this is a role
Yes.
that he's been wanting to play his whole life.
I don't know if it's this version, but
Not this version, but he's been
let's
wanting to
hope not.
play
But he is
Gambit.
comic fucking accurate in the look, which
He
is
is.
insane. Like, although it looks great, but it also looks kind of doofy. Um, but it kind of works really well for the version that he's playing. So, but yeah, no, it's really fun. And then they talk about what's going on and everything and what they're gonna do. Maybe go uh storm Cassandra's base and get it so the Wolverine and Deadpool can get out of there. And the other three want some kind of resolution to their story, I guess. They're willing to go out in a blaze of glory. Um, and they're like, oh well, we can't do anything without the fourth person. And Deadpool's like, oh, is it Magneto? And he gets all excited, and they're like, no, Magneto's dead. um, oh, and there's also a great other little dig because they're talking about people who've died along the way, and they were like the Punisher, there was somebody else, and then
Daredevil.
Deadpool or Daredevil, yeah. And Deadpool goes, oh, I'm sorry. And Elektra goes, it's okay.
It's okay.
Which is referencing the fact that, in her version, Ben Affleck was Daredevil and
They
they
were
got
married and
married
got
and
divorced.
they had a very messy divorce afterward. So yeah, so I love all those little digs. It's like the most catty bitchy shit ever. And it I don't know, it just works so well with the whole Deadpool thing. But anyway,
The
so
meta humor in this movie is outstanding. It is
it's
just
yeah,
outstanding.
it's on so and nothing is safe. Like not even Ryan Reynolds himself is safe, and I love that about him that he's willing to put himself in the mix of all that
Mhm.
and talking shit about himself as well. Um so it's a lot of fun. But yeah, so they're like no, and then in comes X-23. Uh, um Laura, which I can't remember her last name now. But anyway, so Wolverine's clone slash daughter from the Logan movie, and it is from that reality as well. We don't. She doesn't. They don't necessarily confirm it in the movie, but it was confirmed outside of the movie that yes,
Mhm.
she is the one from the Logan movie. So yeah, so it's so she comes from the same universe as Deadpool at this point, same reality. Uh, but yeah, so they decide, yeah, let's fucking go and let's go storm Cassandra's castle, and then Wolverine's like, "You're gonna die."
I mean, he's
It's
all but he's given up. He
oh, he's
doesn't give
given
a
up
shit, you
completely.
know?
Yeah. And so, you find out after that sequence why Wolverine is wearing this costume now, because as we've all known, Hugh Jackman has never worn a Wolverine costume in any of the previous
Mhm.
X-Men or Wolverine movies. And so you find out that in his reality, his X-Men were always trying to get him to wear it, and he would never do it. But after their death, he put it on, and he's never taken it off since. Um, and so, and this is during a talk with Laura, and he she kind of tells him, because he's like, I'm not going with you, you know, and I'm the worst thing, and she's like, you were always the worst until you weren't. So,
Mhm. I
and
can
that's
tell you it
true.
was really nice seeing Daphne Keane
Oh
in
man,
this role because, we saw her as a kid and
yeah,
it had to be I would think it would be a dream to come back and play this role as an
oh
adult
yeah,
or as a young adult, just because she brought that closure we kinda needed. Everybody wants to
right,
see her. What would she be like as a grown up, as an adult with these
yeah.
powers and as badass as she is? Oh my god.
Right. Well, and that was the thing too, is like I've seen interview footage with her during that time period, and she was like elated to be back and playing this character because it's like it means a lot to her. And I think that's what's interesting about when you find out about a lot of these people who have played a lot of these
Mhm,
characters, it's not just a job for them. Deadpool is not just a job for Ryan Reynolds. Wolverine is not just a job for Hugh Jackman. They are they are those characters, and those characters are them in a
mhm,
lot of ways. I mean, obviously they're not exactly the same, they correlate, but those characters mean so much to them. And that's why even with Hugh Jackman saying he was retired from Wolverine after Logan, that he came back for this, because he was like, look, I'll come back only for this movie, and he came back. So I
mhm.
mean, because it still meant so much to him to have a story to tell, if there was a good enough story to tell. And I think this was like a great story to tell for him. um
Yeah, because he gets that redemption arc that,
yeah,
Wolverine always has a redemption arc, but we get to see that one last look at how great he is at this character because I can tell you when he was announced way back in the day, people were just completely like, "Who is this guy?
yeah,
We don't know who this
he
guy
was a
is."
complete unknown.
And
Yeah,
now anybody that plays this role is gonna have a hard time filling
yeah,
those shoes because that's all we can equate it to. That's all I
yeah.
can think of when I think about Wolverine at this point is Hugh Jackman's performance and how he kind of breathes life into this character.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. He's going to be a very tough act to follow. I mean, we all got to be prepared for it. He's probably not really going to be doing this till he's 90,
Till
like
he's
they keep
90,
saying. It's said at least twice in this movie. Disney's going to have him doing this till he's
till he's
90.
90.
Um, and then later on, like he leans over to him and he's like, "Till you're 90." It's so funny. Um, and you know what? Like, if he does keep coming back, I'm not going to hate on it. Like, I think it'd be funny if he kept doing it. Like in a good way. If there's a good enough story to do for him to keep coming back.
Right.
I don't want him to be doing, X-Men Origins Wolverine stuff. Let's keep away from that, please. But yeah. No, but yeah, this is um a great movie to kind of embrace all of that, and to be bringing these Fox characters back, and in Blade's case, a new line character back.
I mean,
Um,
it's a great commentary on the superhero genre itself. Just
Yeah.
the fact that we have these legacy characters, we have, endless cycle of reboots and timelines and just putting all of these things together in this film, it all works. And we get to see how big these hearts are, and we get to see just how crazy it could get if
Yeah.
Cassandra Nova got the power that she wanted
Yeah.
in this film. Man, can you imagine if we all were in the void? That would suck ass. That would just be
Yeah.
the worst thing.
Yeah.
Not to mention we get to see 100 Deadpools. When are we ever gonna see this again? It's like
Yeah.
insane.
No, this is like if they never do another Deadpool movie, which I hope they do, but if they never get to do another one, this was the best one to go out on.
Yeah,
Like this
I
this
agree.
one was so good. It completes an arc like so well. And if they never do another one, I'm fine with that. I would love to see more, but I'm okay if this is the last
Mhm.
one. Um I don't think it'll be the last one because this one made a shit ton of
I
money.
know.
I went and saw this in the theater twice. I rarely will go back and see a movie in its run during its run.
Yeah,
I'll rarely go
same.
back a second time, but I was just like I had time and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and rewatch this again. This is so fun. And I've watched it at least two or three times since I just recently got it on disc as well.
Mhm.
So but yeah, it's just oh man, it's too fun. So anyway, our group of heroes decides to go to they're heading off into towards Cassandra Nova's base again. And along the way, there's a bit where they'd say something about the Punishers or something like that about how many Punishers have died on their during their journey and everything like that and everything. And Blade goes, uh, there's only been one Blade. There's only ever going to be one Blade. And then Deadpool looks at the camera and just kind of tilts his head like, that's right. Because they
I
have,
didn't catch the head tilt. I did not
oh
catch
my
that.
God, because they've been having such a hard time getting this new Blade movie that they announced off the ground.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, so the scuttlebutt that I've been hearing is that because they've already been through like two directors already,
Jesus.
because they cast Mahershala Ali as Blade, and from what I understand, is that he's been kind of the issue.
Yeah.
He is wanting Blade to be a Black Panther level kind of movie, like that kind of importance in terms of that. And nobody's been able to come up with a story that has that level or something like that. And I guess he's got enough pull with the movie that he's able
Oh,
to
wow.
ask for that. It's all in the rumor mill. I don't know if any of this is confirmed or anything else like that, but it kind of makes a little bit of sense. Just knowing that Mahershala Ali has been an Oscar winner, and is probably looking for something on that level.
Mhm.
And so, but I don't know. It's hopefully that's not the case. That's just a rumor. And of course, rumors could be wrong. So, but something's going on. This movie's not getting a script written. It's not like it's been pulled from the schedule completely. It's now doesn't even have a date now. So something's going on. Something needs to be fixed on it. But in the meantime, Wesley Snipes has been the only Blade. If we discount the TV series where Sticky Fingers was
No, we're
Blade,
definitely discounting the TV
yeah, we're
series.
always
We're not talking.
discounting that because that was not a good show. Um, but yes, but yeah, Wesley Snipes, the only Blade, and hopefully only ever Blade. It'd be great to get him back in a Blade movie. I'm sorry, I would love to see him come back for the
I
Blade
feel
movie.
like from seeing the way he looked in this movie, I feel like they could totally do that.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. No, it was so good. So they all rocket up there, get out of the car, and a great epic slow motion scene as they all get out of the car, which how can you make a great getting out of the car sequence? Slow mo and low angles. And then you find out that even Wolverine's in there. He was in the back of the van. He pops out and They're all about to mess up everybody because then you get to see, and you saw some of them earlier, but you get to see there's some people like what is it, Azazel, um, and Lady Deathstrike's there, Blob, Juggernaut. So it's going to be this big fight. And their goal there is they need to get Juggernaut's helmet so that they can put it on Cassandra Nova so that her powers won't work. Um, and so the great most memed uh, line from the movie is said by Gambit. I'm not going to say it because there's no way I could pull it off nearly as well as he does. But y'all know what I'm talking about. He's about to make a name for himself. And it's great. But they all do really well. It's a great fight sequence. They're all kicking ass. Channing Tatum like very much pulling Gambit off in this as well. With the cards, and he gets the staff
He's
and
got the
everything.
staff, and we get to
Yeah,
see him in action for
yeah,
a very good moment. I love that.
yeah. No, so it's really good to see Gambit in live action. And meanwhile, Wolverine and Deadpool go up. They go to confront Cassandra. She's messing them up. Messes with Logan's mind, trying to get him to back down so he won't kill her. And then they manage to get Juggernaut's helmet and put it on her head. And that's when they convince her to help them get out of the void. And so they jump through the MCU Sparkle portal to get out of their reality, to get out of the void and to go into their reality where Paradox has continued his work on the Time Ripper. It's supposed to be there. And Cassandra finds out that she's been double crossed by Paradox, and also comes to use the Time Ripper to destroy all of reality. So now Deadpool and Wolverine got to stop her from doing that. And unfortunately, now they are stopped by the 100 Deadpool Corps.
I think I might have liked this fight most of all.
This is a lot of fun. It's great watching them all come out of the portal, and you get to see all of them, all the different Deadpools. You get Lady Pool, played by Ryan's wife, Blake Lively. And also Kid Pool is played by his daughter, and Baby Pool is also played by his kid. So the whole family's there. But you also have Matthew McConaughey as Cowboy Deadpool, and Nathan Fillion as Headpool. You get a Rob Liefeld joke in this sequence because they get shoved into the store. Liefeld's just feet, because it's a known thing, a known joke in comic book circles that Rob Liefeld, who is the co-creator, he's the artist who co-created Deadpool, that he has a hard time drawing feet, or he used to have a hard time drawing feet. And so it was a nice little dig. But this is the moment I need to watch the special feature because I haven't watched it yet. But they actually went to Madonna and showed her this sequence so that she would sign off on doing Like a Prayer, that she would be okay with them using Like a Prayer during this sequence. And apparently she gave them some suggestion for it that made them, I think they had to reshoot it or do some or add to it in some way. And so something so much they had to go back and do something extra for it. So they were just like, oh my god. So there is a special feature on the disc and on the digital version that is about that sequence. So I need to go and watch that because I want to find out exactly what it was that she said.
I want to know too.
So it's a great sequence because they fight the 100 Deadpools. They managed to kill Nice Pool, because Nice Pool has low bone density and no regenerating
powers.
So
we also get to see Wolverine with the cowl on for once.
Yes. Not only do we get to see him in costume, but he pulls on the mask, and that was like definitely that was another moment where I'm nudging Katrina. I'm like, oh my god, it's the man. She's like, shut up, Dad. She hates me. Um, she hates going to the movies because I'm always like, well, there's this thing and that thing. I try not to over explain like I have all the time. Um, but yeah. But yeah, no, it was great getting to see him in the mask, and it's so good. Um, it's just amazing. And yeah, no, they tear through those Deadpool.
I love that part too because, Blind Al comes out the window and she's like, "I wish I was deaf as well as
Yeah,
blind," because
so
you can just hear them cursing and
yeah.
talking and just going
Dying.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah, and dying.
yeah.
It's hilarious. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
god, it's so great. It's like it's so chaotic. You get a great Stan Lee cameo there too. It's a kind of a blink and you miss it as they're going along on the interior of the bus.
Mhm.
On the outside of the bus, there's a little um sign that says Stanley Steamer, but it's like Stanley,
Stan
but
Lee.
it's put
Mhm.
together as one word. And then there's a picture of Stanley on it as well. So I was just like, that's awesome. It was a great little
Mhm.
tribute. And then they come out of it. They've messed up all the Deadpools, but the other Deadpools start to regenerate. The fight is not done, and then somebody goes, "Deadpool, stand down!" And in comes Peter, of all things, Peter from the first movie, or not first movie, second movie, his friend Peter. And all the Deadpools listen to him, and they're like, every Deadpool has a
As
Peter.
a Peter.
Oh my god, it is like this movie is so bizarre and so weird. It's like really like Peter of all things is what's gonna like get them to calm down. They all like start celebrating about around Peter, and they're all like happy. He gets like put up on the shoulders. Like at one point, one of the Deadpool sticks his fingers in his mouth. It's so funny. It's like a completely random blinking you miss it moment where he's just like,
And
oh,
it's funny too because when Peter comes up, he's on his bike, and when
yeah,
he gets off and he's got the Deadpool suit on,
yeah,
he's got this humongous bulge in front of his plane, and I'm like, "Really? Peter of all people has got the largest penis? Of course, why wouldn't he? It
right,
makes sense, right?"
right, right. That's why he's so
He's so
popular
enamored everybody's
amongst the
enamored with him.
yeah.
It's like, what? Even well, we'll get to that, but even the TVA B-50 is it B-15?
B-15, yeah.
Yeah, she's even, like, giving him the, "I'm gonna throw you down in a minute"
Oh,
look,
she's
and I'm
giving
like
super fuck me eyes. Yeah. 100%.
I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" Even Paradox is like, "What the fuck is going on?"
It's funny.
'Cause, like, they're looking at each other like they're about to go to town, and we're like, What? What is this?" Oh my
Oh, so
god.
funny. Oh man. But yeah, so Wolverine and Deadpool go and they find out what they need to do. One of them has to sacrifice themselves
I
to
can't believe you're
stop it.
breaking this movie down. You said you do not do
I know,
breakdowns.
I know, but what else was I gonna do? Like, I can't talk about stuff without talking about like going through it. I
Go
know.
on.
I
Go
hate
on.
myself for doing it.
We're already at the end, so you
I
might as well just
know. I
finish.
know. Why are you asking this question now? Like you should have asked that halfway through. What else was I gonna
I'm
do?
just sitting here in awe, like, "You don't do this shit. I do
I
this
know. I
shit."
know. I'm
I don't
totally
even do
good.
the whole movie.
I know. Hey, we're spoilers here.
Oh
Um
my god.
but anyway, but yes, so they go down, they find out what they need to do. One of them has to sacrifice themselves by pulling on the matter and antimatter things to stop her from being able to finish what she's doing. She's basically starting to destroy the timeline, and they fight over it. I mean, realistically, it really should have been Wolverine. Not
Yeah,
gonna lie. Deadpool had a lot more to live for at that point. Wolverine had nothing left to live
and
for.
he even told him that he
He
had no
did.
one. He had nothing.
But Deadpool wants to be the hero because he's still having that like crisis of conscience going on.
Yeah, and his name
Um,
comes first in the title, so why wouldn't
yeah,
he?
right. But as he's doing that, and as it's getting super close, I think it gets to like 2% left
Mhm.
of like the timeline's integrity, and Wolverine finally manages to get through, grabs his hand, and um, completes the circuit. Because that was the thing too, is like Deadpool wasn't going to be able to do it because he couldn't
Hell no, he
stretch
couldn't
over
reach.
enough. Yeah, he
Yeah.
couldn't reach, and so they needed them both there.
It's like a la Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
You
very,
gotta
very
close
reminiscent of that.
it.
Yeah, but you got Deadpool and Wolverine clasping hands and like grabbing on and like holding on,
Wolverine's
completing that
shirt
circle.
just
It
bursts
just
off of his
explodes
body.
off so that you get this like moment of like sheer like he's so sexy with his ripped abs and
I
everything.
wasn't mad at that.
Even Deadpool wasn't either. Deadpool looked too.
He was looking.
And as a reminder, Deadpool is canonically pansexual in the comic books, so very much
It's on brand.
it's on brand. So so it's but yeah, it's a great moment. They managed to stop it. They're obviously like, thankfully they both, have those healing factors because I think otherwise they would have been dead if it had
Of
been
course.
anybody else, they would have died. But yeah, so they managed to stop her. She obliterates. They go back up. Then we get that scene with the TVA coming in with B-15 and Peter Poole, and it was so funny. And then yeah, and then we resolve it. Wolverine's gonna go off and kind of do his own thing
The
in
loner thing again.
yeah his loner thing in Deadpool's reality now. He's part of his reality now. What they did was because of their sacrifice, they managed to not only stop their his reality from being destroyed, but also uh, started it healing back. So now it won't, because the anchor beam was gone. It's now not destroying itself. It's now healing itself. So because of what they did. So now, so it's so funny too because ultimately, the thought was that Deadpool was going to come over to the MCU
Hmm.
proper, but he doesn't. He stays in his reality, and stays with his friends and everything, which is his sole motivation throughout this was saving his friends. Um, and so he talks to Wolverine and says, "Hey, why don't you come with me?" And they go off, and you see Wolverine, and you also see um, Laura there later on with all their friends and all having a good time, just talking and having fun. And I love that. I love that they were able to save, because that was one of the things they wanted to save the other people from the other
Right.
reality: Blade,
Void.
Elektra, Gambit, and Laura, and from the Void, and give them a new home if they could. And so obviously Laura decided to come to that reality to be with Logan, and I thought that was great. Um, and then I think that's the end. That's where it ends, and then we get credits up, and then we get the great little montage of like behind the scenes footage, a mixture of behind the scenes footage and footage from the movies, from mostly X-Men stuff, but you also get some Fantastic Four and some Daredevil stuff. Basically anything that was done by Fox.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's set to Green Day's Good Riddance, um, the time of our lives, or time of your life, whatever. Um, and so it's this great emotional sequence. So good. Um, I know I was kind of getting teary eyed in the theater watching that because it was just like it's the end of an era. It wasn't a great era, but it was the end of an era.
Yeah, but you also, you get to see those clips and you get to see how
Yeah,
young everyone was, and
yeah,
the little behind the scenes stuff of them on set, and just them
yeah,
talking about all of these things. And
and them having fun, and yeah, yeah. It was definitely cool. I was glad that they did it that way, and that it's a very good, loving ode to that Fox era. Um, since now Disney owns it, and
Mhm.
you know, um, but no, it was really cool. Get through the rest of the credits, and then we get an end credit sequence,
It's Johnny Storm.
which was Johnny Storm saying all the shit that Deadpool said he said, but he was denying. And Johnny Storm, what a potty mouth on that guy, man. Whew. He gives Deadpool a run for his money. We all thought it was just actually Deadpool saying that shit, but it was actually Johnny. So, which, Chris Evans, he had to be having so much fun with that.
Oh my god, yes,
So,
because he can never say those kind of things in any superhero
right.
capacity. So that had to been a hoot for him to do all of those terrible, terrible things.
But yeah, no, this movie, like I know I synopsized it after all and everything, but it was because I wanted to make sure I hit the really good bits and stuff like that. Um, I think everybody was really great in this. I think Cassandra Nova was a good villain. Even Paradox was a good villain,
Hmm.
especially in movies. MCU does have a villain problem. Um, but I think that arguably, I will say that sometimes the villain is weak because the story's not inherently about the villain itself, and it's about the hero's journey. Um, I previously mentioned this in the episode that I did with Ashley Thomas about the Marvels and about how the villain in that is kind of weak. It's not a very compelling, very interesting villain,
Hmm.
but that's because it's not about her. It's not arguably about the whole setup for that. It's about the relationships between Carol, Monica, and Kamala. And so that was what the story really was about. And so that's why the villain didn't need to be somebody who you needed to be like, oh, this great villain. They didn't need to be on screen all the time. And I think that's even the same with this one. Is some people could argue that Cassandra and Paradox are, weakish villains and stuff like that. But that's because it was a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. It's about them and about their journey and about their being together and everything like that. So, um, but I think even still, I think they were great villains.
I think so too. I
Yeah,
thought that they were right as we needed them. Just like
exactly.
you said, it was just about their journey and them trying to get their redemption, and also becoming friends along the way, despite Wolverine not wanting to get attached.
Right.
I mean, he never wants to get attached to anybody, but I mean,
Exactly.
when you're lived as long as he has, and you've seen people die, and you can't save
Exactly.
the ones that you love, of course you don't want to get attached to anybody. But he needed that. He needed
He
that
did.
friend in that moment.
Well, and I think that's what's interesting too, is that even in the comic books, he's realized that over the years. Because there's a moment in the X-Men, and this was a while back, but um the X-Men fracture, Wolverine and Cyclops, who've always had a contentious relationship with
Mhm,
each other, they think that they have two different opposing views. Cyclops has become more militaristic and more like the X-Men need to be basically an army.
mhm.
And Wolverine is like, no, this needs to be a school. These kids need to be taught first and foremost. We can't be enlisting all these kids into a war. Um, and so they fracture, they split. Wolverine goes and restarts the school, and is like, of all the people, I would have never have thought it would have been Wolverine. But then at the same time, it fit perfectly his
Mhm.
character and the way his story arc has been in the comics and everything. And it was just like so perfectly um in touch with who the character was at that point. And I think that's the interesting thing is you look back at Wolverine, he's always been that person who has um helped um a younger member. First, it was
Mhm.
Kitty Pride, then it was
Right.
Jubilee, later it was Laura. So he's always had this young person under his wing at times, his own personal Robin.
Well, I think
um,
too, he also understands how it is for someone to use you as their personal weapon, and he doesn't
exactly,
want that to reflect on them or make that the decision for them if that's what they
exactly,
want to do. So,
yeah,
it does. It makes perfect sense.
yeah. So I mean, and being somebody who's lived over 200 years like himself and everything like that, he's got a unique perspective as well, so that other people won't have. So I think that's what's interesting about it. And so yeah, no, this is a really great movie. It's really fun. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. I don't know what you're doing with your life. Um, but no, it's like even if you haven't watched any other MCU movies, one, it's not super tied into the MCU. I mean, it's makes references obviously to the TVA and stuff like that. So you have to have a passing knowledge of the Loki stuff. But I don't think you have to have any real prerequisites. I think the most that you would have to know is kind of be aware of the Fox properties, just so that you know who the characters are and stuff.
Right.
But outside of that, it's a fun. doesn't take itself seriously while also being like the most serious movie. Um, but yeah, no, it's a great fun time. It's just slightly over 2 hours. It's not even a
Mhm.
huge run time. It's 2 hours and 7 minutes. Um, and it's all just great.
I would never think a movie that has a pegging joke would have a lot of heart, but here we are. It just so happens to be. Um,
Deadpool defies everything.
well, he is Marvel Jesus. What
He is
what can
Marvel
we
Jesus,
say?
exactly.
Oh my gosh, was there anything else we need to talk about with this film?
I don't know. I think we've pretty much said everything.
You did
I'm
a
sure.
really great job,
Thank you.
giving that synopsis
Yeah,
of
I
what's
did
going
just
on.
literally rewatch it last night, so
Oh my
it was very
gosh.
fresh in my brain. So that helped a lot. I'm sure I missed a few things. I
We don't wanna
missed
give him
talking about
everything.
I missed talking about his group of friends at the beginning and how funny that was with all the characters that returned and stuff like that, and how
Mhm.
there's a few characters that we miss from that. Definitely missed um Domino and Cable
Yeah,
from the last one. That
I
was
would
a
have
little
loved to
odd,
see them.
but hopefully they are both out doing something significant on their own. So hopefully that's the reason why they missed it. Um, I'm sure it was contracts and stuff like that trying to get. We're like, well, which people do we mostly need to get in here? Um, but yeah, no, it was very fun. Um, but yeah, no, I think we said most of everything that the important stuff at the very least.
Mhm.
If we did miss something that you want to talk about, let us know in the comments, and we can talk about it. Come to our social media, talk to us there. You can find us everywhere. Donna, where can they find you?
Pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts, it's Donna underscore the THA underscore dead, and then same on Instagram and Blue Sky.
Right. All right. Yeah, definitely go check out her podcast. She's always got great stuff going on. We're at the end of March now, which is she's been doing women in horror month. So it's been a lot of fun so far, and make sure to go check out all of her stuff and go check her out on Instagram, which is where she posts mostly. So when she's not deathly ill.
My mutant healing factor has not kicked in, okay?
Yes, 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 yeah, exactly, exactly. It's kind of on the fritz a little bit, right? With your advanced age.
Ooh, that's cold.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Look, I'll stay looking this way forever though.
Yes,
So,
you will. You will.
that part works, just not
Yeah.
internal. The internal part doesn't work.
Right, right. It's just all of the internal stuff's wrecked now.
Mhm.
All right. Well, as usual, it's great to have you on. I always love having you on every week. For our opening segments. It's always fun to get you on for a regular episode as well because it means I
Yes,
get to
my
talk to you a lot
pleasure.
longer. So good to have a lot of fun. So, all right. Well, thank you again, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Creepy and Geeky is produced and hosted by Robert Clark. If you like what you've heard, please consider giving the show 5 stars and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and share the podcast on social media to help spread the word. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or at creepyandgeeky.com. You can follow the podcast by going to creepyandgeeky.com and clicking on any of the social links. If you'd like to follow me, you can find my links at geekthulu.com. You can support the podcast by ordering teas and more on TeePublic or by donating to the coffee page. All of the links are in the show notes. Finally, don't forget, stay creepy.